Hi, I'm Andrew from Creative Guitar Studio. Thanks for tuning in to my weekly guitar blog. It is Friday, July 23rd, 2010. And to start this week off, I thought, let's hit the Forbes top 10 list of the world's highest earning musicians and check that out to get started. One thing this list makes crystal clear is if you want to become one of the highest paid musicians in the world today, you better have a career that peaked out in the 80s or the 90s. Take a look at this list. We got U2, AC/DC, Beyonce, Britney, Jay-Z. You know, everyone on this list, except for, I guess, Lady Gaga, whose career started around, I believe, 2005 or so. They've been jamming it out for like 20 or 30 years. You know, this, I guess, when it comes to new bands and the new scene, you know, I guess this kind of starts highlighting the fact that the current music consumer, the consumers have shown that, you know, they're not too willing to pay for music that they can't easily download for free or whatnot. One other point, though, that was noted in the Forbes article is that there's a growing concern within the concert business, which is the big payday for a lot of these acts. And even though Ticketmaster was recently absorbed by Live Nation, they're continuing to experience a significant drop in the ticket sales. So some, believe it's upwards of about 20%, and that's actually expected to get even worse in 2011. And the big problem overall is really nobody really seems to know for sure if this is due to the continued concerns, about the economy, or if it's oversaturation possibly of the market, with the same big names constantly touring year after year, and many of them without a new album to really support their tours with. So Gary Bongiovi, the editor of Polestar, the concert trade publication, said in a quote, in today's world, artists have to tour to make money because they can't just sit at home and collect their royalties and expect to make their mortgage payments. It sounds crazy that these huge stars are hitting financial problems in their latter years, but yet, in a way, I'm not surprised. I know musicians, who can barely make their mortgage payments, and they've never had a hit, and they certainly have never had royalties. It's just that, the gigs out there, really, they haven't been increasing in pay. I've been doing this since 1992, and your average weekend gig pretty much pays now what it did, back in 1992. There's other gigs, as you grow, you become a better musician. There's other opportunities that come your way. But I don't know. From everything I'm reading, this business really does seem to be on a serious decline, and it's pretty interesting to me, as to what the next few years are going to hold for this industry. Anyway, moving along, an email a subscriber sent to my site. It contained a link to a Globe and Mail article, basically, that listed a new TV show by none other than Dee Snider. He has a new reality TV show dubbed out as the weirdest thing coming to television. And if you're not familiar with Dee Snider, he's formerly of the 80s rock band Twisted Sister. So anyway, his new reality show is called Growing Up Twisted, and it'll be on A&E this month. It starts on July 27th. It's supposed to be an unscripted series that follows the daily life of Dee Snider as he attempts to, I guess, depict himself as a devoted family man, but yet still a rock and roll animal, I guess. I don't know how they get these reality show ideas, but this guy's like pushing 60. They're gonna have him in his stage makeup, I guess, and jewelry and leather pants. So I don't know. I guess he's supposed to have this real in-your-face sort of biker chick, wife, and it's going to be his wife and the 4 kids, and they're going to, I guess, ham it up for the cameras and so forth, in the tradition, I suppose, of the Osbournes and that show Gene Simmons had. I think it was called Family Jewels, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, in the opener, Dee evidently gets a new tattoo. I'm not too sure what's exactly so weird about that, but I guess, if you want to see him get a tattoo, tune in. I think the most puzzling thing to me with these shows is how these people are so eager to basically humiliate themselves and their families for really nothing more than just sort of a one-off paycheck, I guess, all trying to accomplish being, the weirdest one, weirder than the other weird guy's weirdest TV show. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, let's go on to the question that I picked for this week. It's from André out in Sweden. He wrote in, "Hey Andrew, I have a question for you concerning songwriting and structuring. I try to create as much music as I possibly can, and sometimes it results in a full song, but I keep getting stuck in the process of writing, just ending up with a pile of riffs and getting into studio mode instead of creative mode. So I'm wondering if you know of any methods to become more effective and perhaps disciplined while creating. Well, thanks for writing in, Andre. You know, I feel that songwriting is a very personal and also very unique method in the way people approach doing it. You know, sometimes songwriting begins with lyrics, and sometimes with melody, sometimes with chord changes. Can happen really any place, any time, anywhere. You know, you could be driving your car, riding, public transportation. You could be out walking. You could be biking. You could be reading a magazine or a book. I think every person's approach is definitely something that they've developed over time and is unique to them. I watched Elton John, actually, during an interview last week, and he said he waits for the lyrics from his longtime songwriting partner, and then the music just starts flowing out of him. It just hits him. So one thing to keep in mind is that song development has three main elements, which are basically the framework, the motif, and the organization of the piece. Now, the framework is, what the form is, how it's moving, intro, verse, bridge, chorus, outro. You have to kind of visualize that. You have to look at the entire process with the parts. Sometimes you have to have those parts already pre-written, and there's no order to these either. It's just how they kind of develop. Now, you could develop the bridge first. You could develop the chorus first. It just depends. There's the motif, though, and that's kind of what the glue of holding everything together. It's the sort of overall influence of what the song is about. If you have lyrics, of course, they're going to revolve around this as a core idea. But it can also work very well for a thought process with instrumentals as well. Organization of the piece, that's kind of how everything's going to fit together in the end. And again, I often will grab a piece of paper and sort of map out how I'm thinking about things with the instrumentation, how the accompaniment of the parts will work, the rhythmic feels, harmony of the song. So, as you can see, there's a lot to this process, and it might very well be the reason why people often write the best songs with their own personal and unique methods and beliefs, or their own notions about what has to be a part of the overall circumstance of getting the song to actually come out of themselves. I'm sure you've heard of the term an artist's mojo. This is the sort of personal, perennial confidence and the connection to the artist's creativity to tap into exactly what they need to be able to tap into to accomplish their art form. Now, one book I know that was really interesting for me personally was by the artist Betty Edwards, and it's called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. It focuses a lot on thinking more from the point of view of imagination and working from the subconscious more. I'll place a link to it in the description box below. But anyway, I hope this helps somewhat. It's a fairly personal and developed thing. That's about all the time I have for today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll be blogging again next week. Take care, and bye for now. We'll see you next time.